Today, we are diving into a really powerful short story by the legendary writer Munshi Premchand. It's called Khudi, and it gets you thinking about a pretty profound question. What if belonging to everyone meant you actually belonged to no one? Let's get into this journey of finding yourself in a world that's always trying to define you. So let's start with a question at the very heart of this story. What does it really mean to belong? I mean, is it about being needed by everyone or desired by everyone? Or is it something way deeper, something you can only find inside yourself? Well, this is the exact path our protagonist, Money, finds herself on. We're going to watch as she navigates this life of being pulled in every single direction, only to discover that the only real anchor is the one inside her own soul. Okay, so our story kicks off with Money, a young orphan girl who just appears in a village, almost out of thin air. She has no memory of her parents, no history, nothing. She's a total mystery, and right from the start, she kind of becomes the village's kid. And this one line from the story, it just perfectly captures the crazy paradox of her childhood. I mean, think about it. If the entire village claims her, then no single person is truly responsible for her, right? She is everywhere and nowhere all at once, cared for by all, but truly, deeply loved by none. And that's the loneliness that really defines her early life. You know, she tried so hard to please everybody. One person would tell her to wash clothes, but on her way, someone else would send her to get water. And then a third would call her out to the fields. She was pulled in all these different directions. So in the end, she satisfied no one. And she often went hungry, punished for the very loyalty she was trying to show. So, as Mooney grows into this beautiful young woman, the whole dynamic shifts, big time. Now, you'd think this would solve her problems, wouldn't you? She's not a servant anymore. She's this object of desire. But, as we're about to see, this new kind of attention is just another kind of prison. What's so amazing about the way this story is told is the symmetry of her loneliness. I mean, just look at these two phases of her life, side by side. As a kid, she gave her labor to everybody, but had no one to call her own. As a young woman, all the men gave their attention to her, but again, she belonged to no one. She went from being everyone's servant to everyone's fantasy, but in both cases, the result was exactly the same. She was completely, utterly alone. Men would bring her all these lavish gifts, sweets, jewels, they promised her palaces. But to her, all that stuff felt like poison. What she was really craving was so simple and sincere. Dry bread offered with real affection, honest words from the heart, the safety and belonging of just a simple thatched hut. They offered her everything except for the one thing she truly wanted, a real connection. And then everything changes. A stranger just wanders into the village. He's weak, he's poor, and he's just radiating this deep, profound sadness. And in him, Muni doesn't see another admirer trying to own her. She sees a mirror of her own soul. Just think about that. That's the first thing she asks him. Not, hey, where are you from or what do you want, but a question that cuts right to his emotional core. She recognizes his pain because she's lived it her entire life. It's this moment of incredible unspoken understanding. And his reply just confirms it. He speaks with the cynicism of a man who's lost all hope. He's not trying to impress her or win her over. He just lays his brokenness bare. And this raw, unfiltered honesty is precisely what all those jewels and palaces could never offer. And it's exactly what Muni has been searching for. So here's the crucial point. After all those years of fending off men who offered her the entire material world, she finds infinite value in a man who has nothing but a wounded heart. For the very first time, she meets someone whose inner world is as rich and as pained as her own. Now, their time together is incredibly short, but its impact is going to last a lifetime. This brief connection becomes the catalyst for her ultimate transformation. What's so important to get here is that it's not the relationship itself that saves her, but the commitment she builds inside herself because of it. Just 3 days. That's it. That's all they had. He builds a small hut, a symbol of the home she's always craved, and for those 3 days, Muni experiences a joy she has never ever known. This is the entire foundation for a lifetime of change. But then he disappears, and Money waits. Days turn into months, months into years, and years into decades. An absolutely astonishing 70 years go by, and she never stops waiting. She never stops believing he'll return. The stranger, maybe afraid of being hurt again, just vanishes, and he leaves behind only that humble hut he built. For him, it might have been nothing more than a temporary shelter, but for Money, it becomes her entire world. It becomes the anchor for the rest of her life. And it's right here, in this long, seemingly lonely wait, that Money finally finds herself. It's ironic, isn't it? Her unwavering commitment to just one person, even when he's not there, gives her a strength she never had when she was trying to be everything for everyone. Old suitors come back, trying to tempt her away from her simple life with offers of wealth, but her response is just incredible. She rejects the gold, finding complete satisfaction and dignity in her own labor. She doesn't need anything from the outside world to feel worthy anymore. Another man makes fun of her small, rundown hut, offering her a palace instead. And her reply, wow, it's one of the most powerful lines in the story. She tells him this hut is worth more than 1,000,000 palaces, because it's not just a building, it's the heart of her beloved. It's a sacred space. And here it is, the ultimate symbol of her transformation. That simple hut becomes the physical embodiment of her self-respect. It's a fortress, not of wood and mud, but of her own inner conviction. It shields her from the shallow promises of the outside world, because her value is no longer determined by others. It's built and sustained from within. This finally brings us to the title of the story, Khudi. Khudi is this powerful idea of selfhood, of profound self-respect. It's that state you reach where your sense of worth isn't hanging on anyone else's approval or desire. It comes entirely from inside you. This is the fortress Money finally built for herself. The story leaves us with this incredible final thought. Once Money discovered her Khudi, her unshakable inner self, the temptations and weaknesses that used to plague her, they just couldn't touch her anymore. Her inner strength had become her shield. Which, of course, leaves us with a question to think about. Mooney found her fortress of selfhood in a lifelong commitment, symbolized by a humble little hut. It really makes you wonder, in a world that's constantly pulling at us, where do we find our own?